Good evening, United Kingdom. My name is Toby Lepati Mesme, and this is episode 13 of MesmePolitics. We go for another night, and it is a brand new week. Two stories. Second story is, of course, lockdown easing. Big seismic easing of lockdown today. We'll be talking all about it. But first, a quick word on some recent developments. So you've probably seen the footage of some individuals driving through a disproportionately Jewish neighbourhood, heavily Jewish neighbourhood, I believe in London, waving Palestinian flags and shouting all manner of despicable things, some misogynistic, all anti-Semitic. It was a deeply distressing thing to watch. If that sort of thing's likely to trigger you, I'd advise you not to watch it. It's really grim, and I think it bears. We've seen widespread condemnation of this. I think it bears in mind to say. I think it shouldn't go unsaid that displays of sort of wretched anti-Semitism and misogyny like this have no place within the Palestinian cause, are not welcomed within the Palestinian cause, and do not represent in any way the overwhelming, crushing majority of people in the UK and around the world standing up for the rights of the Palestinians against the Israeli apartheid, occupation, ethnic cleansing, state murder and oppression. Israel is a terror state. Israel is pursuing an illegal and illegitimate occupation, but this has no correlation to how Jewish citizens of Britain should be interacted with. That shouldn't need to be said, but Jewish people living their lives in Britain, around the world, have nothing to do with, unless they're unless someone is very clearly, an employee of the Israeli government, they're not connected to the Israeli government. They are not to be treated as if they hold responsibility for the actions of the Israeli government, unless there's a genuine, real reason that they are. And of course, in this case and in all these cases, there isn't. So I think that needs to be said, and I think we need to make that absolutely clear. I mean, most of you know this, but I really do think we need to reinforce it. I also think it's really right that we've seen this highlighted and condemned. However, and any rise in anti-Semitism needs to be condemned and quashed. However, I do worry that what we're going to see are bad faith actors, right? People who already have a political agenda in this matter, cynically weaponizing these instances of foul anti-Semitism to try and smear the Palestinian cause as a whole and delegitimize it. And I think we need to very strongly push back on anything like that, and we need to really get the message across that this is not representative of the Palestinian movement, and anyone saying it is partial and a bad faith actor with a predetermined agenda. If someone is using this sort of as a cudgel with which to attack Palestinian activists en masse, they are not fighting anti-Semitism. They are using anti-Semitism as a political football, which is something none of us should be doing, because it's an incredibly serious issue. With that said, we move on to lockdown easing in Britain. The lockdown today, as of today, you can hug people. Certain restrictions are being lifted in England and around the country. Indoor hospitality and indoor entertainment venues can reopen. 6 people or 2 households can meet indoors. International travel can reopen to certain destinations. Portugal, anyone? University students can return to in-person teaching. So a big step. And this is from the Guardian this evening, the COVID variant, first detected in India, is set to become the dominant strain in the UK within days, experts have said, with the government and health teams struggling to contain cases, which have risen by more than 75% since Thursday. That's less than a week. With the rapid spread of the more transmissible B1617.2 variant threatening to reverse moves to ease lockdown, the government faced intense pressure to more fully explain the delay in adding India to the so-called red list of countries. Dominic Cummings, Boris Johnson's former chief advisor, joined the criticism on Monday, calling the UK's border policy a joke. Now it goes without saying, if this does devolve into a disaster, which it doesn't have to, but it could, obviously the blame lies with the government for its shambolic border policy with regards to variants, something we've all been concerned about. We've all been saying, right? But beyond that, there is very promising data about, the virus, no matter what strain it is still really, really low, right? It is minute. And in most of the country, we're not seeing rising cases. We have to hope this will be okay. Yesterday, we saw some quite somber data on this variant. However, today, there have been a few we've been deluged with data that looks eminently more positive. You do have to worry about going ahead with the unlocking today instead of maybe leaving it a week, leaving it a couple of weeks, just to guarantee it would be okay. I wouldn't wed yourselves to the June unlocking either. Again, as I said yesterday, it's a waiting game. We wait and see. And with that, I'll leave you for tonight. My name's Toby Lepati Mesme. This is MesmePolitics, and I'll see you again, same time, same place, tomorrow. Good night.